On March 5th, Anthropic released this article with this graph, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So what this graph is trying to do is it's trying to show theoretical AI usage versus observed AI usage. Now, what I really wanted to dive into is what does theoretical actually mean? How they measure exposure, which was actually done by a 2023 article that you can find here. But what they do is they take a bunch of tasks from the ONET database, which is a bunch of occupations in the US, and they assign values to each of those tasks. 1, if the task can be doubled in speed by an LLM alone, 0.5 if it requires additional software or tools built on top of the LLM, and then 0 otherwise. So an example that they use in this article, can an LLM authorize drug refills and provide prescription information to pharmacies? They assign this fully exposed as 1. Just want to be clear, I'm pretty sure if you want to authorize drug refills and provide prescription information, you will have to build up some sort of ingest server, have to interact with some sort of email. In other words, some sort of tool. But they also handle that in this article by saying that some tasks that are theoretically possible may not show up in actual in usage because of model limitations. Others may be slow to diffuse due to legal constraints, specific software requirements, human verification steps, or other hurdles. And then they use this example. So this is still exposed as 1, basically understood, ignore all limitations, loud and clear. They are talking about quality there a little bit. They don't really dive too much that I've seen in this article outside of that. So the study itself does define quality a little bit. It says that the task must maintain equivalent quality, and then if any of the combination of the below would reduce quality, it's out of the question. So if it was 1 or 2, if it was 1 or 0.5 and the quality was reduced, no bueno, has to match that. I also just want to point out that while I was doing my research on this, Gemini hallucinated like crazy, making up quotes in this article, making up entire arguments that the article was making. Luckily, I went back and double checked everything that Gemini said. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. In conclusion, Anthropic picked a magical world where it's not really based on what AI can do and based on what it theoretically could do, give it perfect conditions, no legal, software, human, or any other limitations that it possibly might have, which does make sense, right? You are thinking theoretically, so all of these barriers do have to be removed. But another way of putting it is...
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.